I'm Jenny Scott from the University Counseling Center, and I'm here today with Huna, the therapy dog, and we're here just to talk to you a little bit about the changes that are taking place at the Counseling Center, as well as what you might experience when you come to campus and see all of the other changes that will be taking place over the course of the fall semester, and to talk a little bit about the emotions that might bring. So let's go ahead and start talking about at least what the Counseling Center is going to look.
Obviously, this year isn't going to look like years in the past. I'm sure that we've all recognized that we're collectively facing a challenge that has upended what our lives used to look like and used to be, and kind of created a new normal. And the Counseling Center really isn't any different than that. Since March, we've been offering virtual sessions, and those will continue through the fall semester. There will be, of course, exceptions. One of those would be for walk-in appointments for a mental health emergency or crisis. And when you are a walk-in appointment, just please be respectful of the signs that tell you where to go, the physical distancing, and also please wear your mask. Other exceptions will be discussed between the client and therapist. So for the most part, we will be doing just virtual sessions. It's been an adjustment for us, it's been an adjustment for students, but it's something that we are all kind of going through together. Other changes that we are doing, one is a really positive one, is we are working on getting online booking available. So you won't have to walk in to the Counseling Center to make an appointment, but rather do so online or by giving us a call at our phone number 314-977-8255. We will also be still offering groups, albeit virtually, but we're just trying to continue our services despite sort of the obstacles that we're all kind of facing. With all these changes that are going on campus, there's going to be a lot of emotions that are going to come up with this. And all of these emotions are reasons that you can reach out to the Counseling Center for an appointment. There really is no line to cross that makes it okay to seek services. It's just whenever you feel like you need some extra support or just someone to talk to, that's a good time to reach out. For instance, all of these changes, and even watching this video, you might be starting to feel anxious. You might start to feel like a tightness in your chest, your heart rate increasing, and your mind might start racing. Thinking about what is campus going to look like and how am I going to cope and deal with that. And it's really a good time to remember that the one thing we can do to control some of that stress and anxiety is just to breathe. So take a deep inhale now, hold it, and let it go. And as we go through the fall semester and as you continue watching this video and as you get ready to come to campus, don't forget to breathe. This is something that we are all in together. I myself am nervous for the fall semester, and it's going to be a lot. It's going to be a lot of changes. But one thing that I have learned in my years at SLU is that we're a community that supports each other, and that is one thing that hasn't changed as a result of this pandemic. That community piece is going to be so important as we get through this fall semester together. One thing that we might be experiencing as a community would be grief. Grief and loss for the things that aren't the same anymore. For instance, there might not be large gatherings or social events where you could gather as a community, but rather we'll have to do those things over Zoom. Again, just to keep our community safe and really keep us on campus. But that doesn't mean that we wouldn't be upset or that we can't be upset about that loss. And the one thing that helps us get through grief, the one thing that helps us deal with loss is to, in essence, connect with the people that have that shared experience. And that is, again, where I think SLU can thrive, which is to recognize that we are a community who is at a loss, who is losing some things that that really made the college experience, the SLU experience, something to remember. But again, as we go through this as a community, and together, and we support one another, we can still make this an experience to remember. We can still make this a year to remember at SLU. I do think one of the most challenging parts of the changes that are going to occur this semester is going to be this piece of loneliness. And that loneliness actually might be something that we've been feeling since March. A sense of isolation, of being really physically apart from those people that we love and care about. It's something I've heard a number of my students talk about, is just sort of missing their friends, missing their family if someone has something that makes them at a higher risk. And that part is so hard. And I think it is so important for us to, again, remember we're in this together. And for us to recognize that physical distance does not have to mean being socially distant. It doesn't have to mean being emotionally distant. There are so many ways to connect to others, even if it's just a Zoom conference call, even if it's playing games together virtually, even if it's having a physically distant gathering with a few people. There are ways to be smart about getting sort of our emotional and our social needs met that don't have to look like what it used to look like. Because again, we're not in that normal, we're in a new normal, and accepting that is going to be easier when we find ways to cope and deal with the loneliness, the isolation, the anxiety, and the grief. All of those things that are going to come up as we ride out this fall semester together.
And just a reminder, if you do find yourself spending time with friends or classmates, wear your mask, just like Huna.